Breaking news! The Miami Dolphins are entering a pivotal juncture that could redefine the team's future, and the conversation about the direction of the front office has taken center stage. With the 2025 offseason approaching, speculation about a potential general manager search has intensified. If you love the Miami Dolphins and want to see a winning team in 2025, hit the like button. If possible, comment like this: the Miami Dolphins are not a mess. The Miami Dolphins, led by owner Stephen Ross, who has been heavily criticized by fans, are at a crossroads after another season marked by inconsistencies. While the team remains in contention with 3 critical games remaining in the regular season, the underlying issues have become hard to ignore. At the center of the conversation is the performance of GM Chris Grier. Despite several impactful changes in recent years, including blockbuster trades and high-profile acquisitions, the roster construction has shown significant gaps. Krabs emphasized the glaring weaknesses that have plagued the Dolphins this season, particularly on the offensive line. Injuries to key players like Terron Armstead, Austin Jackson, and Kendall Lamb have exposed a lack of depth, leaving the team scrambling for answers in critical moments. A reliance on inexperienced or underperforming backups has compounded the problem, highlighting a failure to adequately plan for such scenarios. This reality, Krabs argued, underscores the need for fresh perspectives within the organization. For a team striving to compete at the highest level, the margin for error is razor thin. The Dolphins have failed to maximize their competitive window, and the upcoming offseason presents an opportunity for recalibration. That recalibration, Krabs suggested, may require a leadership change at the general manager position. Despite these challenges, the Miami GM role remains highly appealing. Stephen Ross has established himself as one of the NFL's most proactive and resourceful owners, willing to invest heavily in the franchise's success. From state-of-the-art facilities to financial flexibility, the Dolphins offer a supportive environment for top-tier talent. The team's infrastructure, ranked first by the NFL Players Association in organizational capabilities, provides a solid foundation for success. Krabs noted that Ross's patience as owner could be a significant draw for potential GM candidates. Unlike many NFL teams with little leadership, the Dolphins offer stability and the time needed to implement a long-term vision. That patience, however, must be balanced with an urgency to address the team's pressing needs. Positions like guard, safety, tight end, and off-ball linebacker present opportunities to make significant improvements without necessarily competing for high-demand assets in free agency or the draft. As the offseason approaches, the Dolphins face critical roster decisions, starting with key contracts. High-profile players like Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb will require strategic management to ensure the team remains competitive while maintaining financial flexibility. The challenge lies in navigating those decisions without compromising the team's future. Krabs further explored the collaborative nature of the Dolphins' organizational structure, a factor that could influence the GM candidate pool. While this approach aligns with the team's culture, it may not sit well with executives accustomed to centralized decision-making. The next GM must navigate this dynamic while asserting his or her vision for the team. In part 2 of this analysis, we'll dive into potential candidates who could step into this pivotal role and lead the Dolphins into a new era of success. What do you think, Dolphins fans? Is it time for a fresh start at GM, or should the current leadership be given another chance? Share your thoughts, and stay tuned for more insights on this developing story. Limitations on immediate decision-making authority, particularly regarding the head coach and quarterback positions. Any incoming GM would likely inherit both Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, at least for the short term. While this continuity could be seen as a benefit, providing stability and direction, it also reduces the new GM's ability to immediately mold the team to their preferred structure. For some candidates, this collaborative framework, where the GM, head coach, and other stakeholders share influence, may not align with their preferred leadership style. Many executives prefer a more traditional hierarchy where the GM has final say over all football-related decisions. The Dolphins' organizational structure emphasizes cooperation, which has yielded both successes and frustrations in recent years. The 2025 offseason will also demand creative solutions to several critical roster and cap challenges. Decisions loom large over aging veterans and hefty contracts. For instance, Terron Armstead's future is uncertain, given his persistent injury issues and significant cap hit. If the Dolphins decide to move on from him post-June 1st, they could free up approximately $20 million in cap space for 2025. But that decision comes with risks tied to replacing a player of his caliber. Similarly, questions surround other key contracts, such as Bradley Chubb's and Tyreek Hill's. Hill remains an elite playmaker, but the Dolphins must weigh the value of extending his contract into his mid-30s against the potential return they could fetch in a trade. Balancing these immediate needs with long-term goals will be one of the incoming GM's toughest tasks. Krabs highlighted how the Dolphins' lack of depth at certain positions, such as guard, linebacker, and tight end, presents an opportunity for a new GM to make an immediate impact. These are areas where top-tier talent can often be found in later rounds of the draft or at reasonable prices in free agency. However, these improvements must be made strategically, as the team cannot afford to miss on pivotal acquisitions during this transitional period. Despite these challenges, the Dolphins roster is not devoid of talent or potential. Players like Jalen Waddle, Javon Holland, and Jaylon Phillips represent a young core that could serve as the foundation of the team's future. Additionally, the presence of proven veterans, such as Xavier Howard and Christian Wilkins, provides leadership and stability as the franchise navigates these uncertain times. Krabs emphasized the importance of the GM hire in setting the tone for this next phase. Whoever steps into the role will need to strike a delicate balance, maintaining competitiveness in the short term while positioning the team for sustained success. This includes a careful evaluation of the Dolphins' competitive window, which may necessitate tough decisions about when to pivot from being all into rebuilding certain areas of the roster. Ultimately, the next GM must be prepared to work within the Dolphins' collaborative environment, leveraging the resources and opportunities provided by Stephen Ross while addressing the roster's critical needs. Miami fans, known for their passion and loyalty, will expect decisive action and results, particularly after years of near misses and unrealized potential. As the conversation shifts from assessing the current regime to exploring future possibilities, one thing is clear: the upcoming offseason could be one of the most pivotal in recent Dolphins history. The choices made in the coming months, whether it's a new GM, strategic player moves, or adjustments to the coaching staff, will define the trajectory of this franchise for years to come. So, Dolphins Nation, what's your take? Should the team take the bold step of bringing in new leadership, or is there still untapped potential in the current structure? Who do you think could be the ideal candidate to lead the team forward? Share your thoughts as we gear up for what promises to be a fascinating offseason in Miami. The Miami Dolphins are approaching a critical offseason, with questions looming about the future of their front office. GM Chris Grier's tenure has seen notable highs but also recurring issues, particularly in roster depth and key position management. Injuries to stars like Terron Armstead and gaps in positions such as guard, linebacker, and tight end have exposed weaknesses that must be addressed. Owner Stephen Ross's commitment to investing in the franchise provides a solid foundation for success, but a fresh perspective at the GM position could be the spark needed to elevate the Dolphins. Potential candidates like Ray Agnew, Andy Weidel, and Will McClay bring diverse strengths and proven success in building competitive rosters. Whoever takes the reins will face a balancing act, maintaining Miami's current competitiveness while strategically planning for sustained success. Dolphins fans, what do you think? Is it time for a new leader in the front office to reshape the team's future?